And tonight on the Daily Wrap, did President Obama cross the line when he commented on the FBI investigation of Hillary Clinton's email server? Plus, Democratic Party head Debbie Wasserman Schultz is making big enemies within her own party. And is the Republican Party in trouble if they don't win the White House in 2016? One prominent guy thinks so. This is the Daily Wrap, live from New York City. And welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, along with future DNC Chair Rick Unger. You going to take over for Debbie?
I don't know if I'm taking over, but I can certainly get behind somebody taking over.
Yeah, I can't find a Democrat that actually likes her.
Obviously she's good at raising money. There's got to be something she does well.
That's true.
That keeps her there, and she's made it through the entire Obama term. I don't think we'll see her, though, going into the next presidential term, even if it's a Democrat.
Okay. And two, Mr. Unger's right. He's a former FBI special agent, a former Navy SEAL, a former waiter at Olive Garden.
What do you do now?
Yeah, he's currently the
founder,
president.
CEO of United States
Services.
Continued Service. I like to, I was saying I was the president of United States Continued Service. That was scaring some people, though.
And what's your name?
Me? Gilliam, Jonathan Gilliam.
And you're here. Okay. Right. And finally, he's a commentator and media consultant, the former editor and publishing manager of The Blaze, and a former investment banker. Ben Weingarten is back as well. Okay, let's get right to the Daily Download.
But tonight, I want to talk not about my emails, but about what the American people want from the next president of the United States.
But the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Thank you.
Curb your enthusiasm. Larry David coming to the rescue of Mrs. Clinton during the Democratic debate on Tuesday night. Well, okay, in all seriousness, Bernie and Hillary might be sick and tired of the email story, but the FBI, well, they ain't. According to an unnamed FBI source, they are not happy with this comment by President Obama during last week's interview with Steve Kroft on 60 Minutes.
Did you know about Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server?
No.
While she was Secretary of State?
No.
Do you think it posed a national security problem?
I don't think it posed a national security problem.
Okay, well, according to the New York Times, that statement angered FBI agents working on the case, trying to determine if Clinton's emails caused a security issue. The president's comments made it sound that Clinton was in the clear, which currently is not the case. Okay, Rick, was the president overstepping his bounds here by commenting on an ongoing investigation?
It was a mistake. It was. I mean, what he should have said is, this is under investigation with the FBI. I can't comment on it. It is fair to point out it's happened before when Tom DeLay was under investigation and being prosecuted. President Bush said something to the effect of, I don't think he's guilty. Right. Again, it's just, I don't think he intended to unduly influence anybody, but he was wrong in commenting on it.
He was in a tough spot, right, Jonathan? I mean, he has to,
it's
his former Secretary of State. I think his political instincts overtook what would have been pragmatic, to Rick's point.
Well, I think the other thing that everybody is missing out on here is that the leader of the free world, the CEO of the United States of America, did not know that one of his cabinet members that he brought on board was using a private server to communicate.
I bet you there were lots of cabinet members doing the same. Not to excuse it, but how would he know?
Well, how would he know? He gets emails from them.
Not any cabinet members that run the State Department, however, Ben.
That's right, and also we're talking about the smartest president of all time. It was a constitutional law scholar, and he is prejudging here an ongoing investigation with the FBI. And
no, that was a mistake.
And to your point, though, you mentioned Tom DeLay under George W. Bush. Also, this president telegraphed sort of a similar move when it came to David Petraeus. He said David Petraeus did not, he didn't say break any laws, but something to that effect. It turned out that the FBI did bring charges against him, and then ultimately the Attorney General spiked it.
Bottom line is, I think these presidents try to be loyal to their friends, and I guess that's admirable. But I have to agree, you can't do that. You can't say anything that even appears to prejudice an investigation.
Jonathan, you're a former FBI agent. If you were investigating this, or knew people that were investigating this, do you think they'd be affected at all by what the president said, or would they just continue what they're doing?
Well, I think that the FBI agents would not be affected. They would be angered. Who is affected by it is the DOJ, which is one of the most unbelievably liberal places that I've ever had to deal with agency-wise, next to the State Department. I've had to deal with both of those in my time in service, and I think that the DOJ is so liberal that they can be affected greatly by something like this, the president saying this.
How does that even add up? What does that mean, that they're so liberal they can be affected by what a president says? What's liberal got to do with that?
Because the FBI agents are going by the letter of the law. They can be, they themselves can be prosecuted for doing the same thing that Hillary did, right? In the Department of Justice, it's oversight, and there's so many people in there that live and breathe by everything that the president says.
Well, that's not the DOJ being liberal. What you're saying is that they're loyal to the boss that appointed them, even when they shouldn't be. That's not the same thing.
They're liberal to a Democratic boss, I'll put it to you that way.
Well, you think it's any different when there were conservatives in there? Can we talk about, we won't do it here, it's not in this segment, but we will talk about the Department of Justice under President Bush and how the Attorney General went to the acting one.
Alberto Gonzales?
Yes, and when he went to, who was the previous one? I'm forgetting. He was Ashcroft.
Ashcroft.
When Ashcroft was literally dying in bed, and they made him sign a law he didn't want to sign.
Now,
it's
you're
not
talking
just about
attorney,
liberal or conservative. It's about agencies of government being loyal, and I won't disagree with you. They shouldn't be if something's illegal.
And I'm not disagreeing with you.
But let's not say it's liberal or conservative.
Well, here's where I'm not disagreeing with you on the political appointees, which the head of the DOJ is a political appointee, but the people that work in the DOJ, all these attorneys, young attorneys that come in, they are so liberal,
and they're there for life.
And it's just ridiculous.
They're not there for life.
Can I just interject one point worth making is that the FBI director, James Comey, worked in a Republican administration, in the Bush administration, was appointed by President Obama. He explicitly came out earlier this month, I believe, and said, my guys are not political at all. We're not going to politicize this investigation. The fact that he had to come out and say that in and of itself is something that's pretty telling.
In the end,
I don't know what it's telling of, except I'm sure he's telling the truth. It's not uncommon, guys. I mean, we're behaving like, when there's a liberal in the White House, they behave one way. They do behave that way. I'm not denying that. They all tend to go with, but it's both sides. It's not, who do you think's appointed when a conservative's in there? Conservative attorneys. They all do the same thing. It's wrong if they're covering something that's illegal.
The DOJ and the State Department have just grown more and more liberal.
One-word answer.
We've had a liberal administration.
One-word answer. Is this a security issue?
Absolutely.
John?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to withhold my judgment until the FBI concludes their investigation.
That's 19 words, more than I demanded.
Sorry.
You heard the president say he didn't know Clinton was running a private server. That alone could land her in jail, according to an FBI agent who spoke to the Daily Mail. The Federal Espionage Act includes a provision that criminalizes, quote, gross negligence, failing to tell the president she was running an independent server for her work, and private emails could result in not 1, not 5, but 10 years in prison. Will Hillary prove to be Teflon and get through this unharmed, or is orange really the new black, Rick Unger?
This one I can give you one word.
Yes.
Yes. She's not going anywhere except probably to the White House.
Again, he couldn't do one word. He couldn't stop with yes.
I said yes.
All right, Gillian.
I don't know if she will, but I think she should. I think it's time that we stop judging executives on a different set of standards than we judge the people who serve this country daily.
Ben?
I think we have to define what unharmed is. If unharmed means that she is the next president of the United States, I'm not sure about that. I think she's going to take a political hit. I don't know if she's going to have legal recourse brought against her.
What do you think the goal was when she thought this whole thing out? Because she said she didn't really put a lot of thought into it, except that obviously she did, because you have to establish a server. It has to go in your basement. You have to hire people. What do you think she was trying to do by going this route?
There are a couple of things. One is, if you look at the whole public history of the Clintons, there's always been this sort of we're above the law taint to them. And Rick, you can disagree with that potentially.
No, actually, I'm not going to.
And I think the other thing is, look, why would you have basically like an off-the-books email server? I mean, we can speculate many different things. It's clear that she was emailing with personal confidants over issues that did affect national security, like Sidney Blumenthal over what's going on the ground in Libya. And it's clear that it might be helpful to have a separate server that is in your public.
What have I always said is the real potential scandal here, folks? those emails that could show that she's doing things for people who gave money to the Clinton Foundation. That's what it's about.
And that will be our last word. What do you think about Hillary Clinton keeping her private email server a secret from the president? Go to newsmaxpolls.com and let us know. Coming up next, there it is the Democratic National Committee in the bag for Clinton?